What's up, guys? Welcome back. Another video in our Raspberry Pi. This is going to be probably the last one I do unless something strikingly hits me that looks like it'd be a lot of fun to show you guys. I'll probably kind of wrap up with this one. What we're going to be doing is, as the title suggests, we're going to be messing with Raspbmc, which those of you that don't know what Raspbmc is basically a version of Xbmc, which is an open source project, to turn basically devices into media center extenders, kind of like your Xbox. Those of you that have an Xbox 360 know what I'm talking about. Those that don't, what it is if you've ever played around with Microsoft Media Center, which I think came out in Windows, I think maybe XP. There was a version of Windows that was like a media center version of Windows is when they first introduced it, and then they've also rolled it into Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, pretty much every release since then. So what it is, those of you who don't know what it is, it's an ability to store, let's say, videos or pictures or music or something on a centralized quote-unquote media server, so basically just a shared drive on a server somewhere, and you set up your media sharing settings on your version of Windows. Usually it's your version of Windows, and then when you launch Windows Media Center, it then will go there, and whatever files you're sharing, whatever media you're sharing, you can then access through Windows Media Center. And in fact, I might be able to, let's see, I think mine has it. My computer has it. Yeah, it has Media Center. So let me just show you what that looks like real quick. Let me launch Media Center real quick, if it will launch. But like I said, I put it in the system. Hopefully this works okay and comes across on my recording okay. Here we go, Windows Media Center. So as you can see, you have basically, and you can use either your arrow keys on your keyboard like I'm doing now, or you can use your mouse. You can scroll to move through these. But as you can see, you can go to movies, and then your music or movies. You can go to your movie library. If you have Netflix, you can choose Netflix, and you can stream your Netflix account through this. It's basically just kind of Microsoft's way of taking all kinds of media and put it in. You can even build, if you want to build up a DVR with your computer, if you want to put in like a TV tuner card of some sort, and then set up a DVR type scenario. Your computer then becomes a DVR through this. It's actually pretty darn cool. Now, this one has a lot of horsepower. The actual media center does. Xbmc basically tries to mimic this and creates a media, what's called extender, which what it is it's another device, but instead of it being the computer that all the media is on, it is a device that will connect to that media, but it gives you kind of the same interface, the ability to choose movies, music, pictures, videos, all that stuff. And even there's some sort of internet TV that you can do, and then you can also do live TV also. But anyway, it basically is the window into all that, is what a media center extender is. So for this, what you can do is you can do the same thing with your Raspberry Pi. Do this, I'll go ahead and exit out, is with Raspbmc, R-A-S-P-B-M-C. I'll put a link to the description for this page. But that's what this is. This is our Raspbmc. What you will do is you'll click on download, and you'll download probably the latest one. You'll probably download and install it for Windows is what I'm going to use it for. They have it for Linux and Mac. I think they have it for Linux. Yeah, and Linux. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I can't read right now. So anyway, so you've got Windows, Linux, Mac. You can download all that, and when you download that package, you'll basically get a zip. You'll extract that zip, and then inside will be the installer. And so what you will do is use this installer. We'll double click on it. Yes, we want to use it. And yes, I accept. You know, they're not responsible for if you tear up your drive or whatever. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my SD card out of my Raspberry Pi, put it in my reader. Well, if I can get it to fit in my reader here. Okay, get it in my reader. I may have to refresh here. There it is. here's my SD card. Now, one thing that is really cool about this Raspbmc is that it will reformat your device. You know how I did that video, I don't know, those of you that have been watching this whole series, you know, I did that video on how to clean your SD card and reset it back and reformat it back to just a normal SD card. Like mine was 8 gigs, so how to reformat it back to an 8 gig SD card. What's cool is this little software, this little installer will do that for you. You choose restore device formatting, and oh yeah, you have to accept the license agreement, and then restore device was erased successfully. And so now if I were to look at my device, where is it, removable disk K, it's now completely unformatted. I can say format disk, 7 gigabytes, whatever, start, okay, erase all data, la da da da, give it just a second to reformat it, and then it will be, yeah, format complete. And now we're right back where we started. We're back with our 7 point whatever gig drive that's blank. So pretty cool. If, like I said, if you can just, those of you, I actually, when I first downloaded this, that's what I used it for when I was switching images and whatnot. You know how we went for the Wheezy image from the Raspbian image and all that stuff. I actually used this because it was actually quicker than going through that whole booting your computer into Linux using Knoppix and all that stuff. So this is actually a really helpful little tool, whether you choose to put Raspbmc on there or not. Now, to put it on there, all you got to do is just, now that we've restored our device, you'll just check mark like we did to restore it, the device that you want to use, and then just hit install. And of course it says that, of course it says the image has already been downloaded because I have downloaded it once. If you see back here in the background, there's this image, this installer.img.gz. That's the installer. If you don't have it downloaded, it'll automatically download it for you. And so that's what it's telling you. And see, that's asking me if I want to re-download the image. There could be a later version or something. I can hit no and it'll re-download it. But I have the latest version anyway since I've been playing with it. Because like I say, I like to play with this stuff before I show it to you guys. That way you know that it's actually been tested and is working. So I'm going to hit yes. So what it'll do now is it will now unpack that installer and put it onto the SD card. Now, what it will do is it doesn't completely install the kernel and the whole operating system. What it will do is it puts the basic functionality on there, kind of like almost like a BIOS, and I'll show you that here in a minute when it's done. We'll actually boot the Raspberry Pi, and you will see that there's actually another set of screens that it will take you through and actually install the kernel. You do need a live internet connection to your Raspberry Pi, but don't worry about setting up any IP information. You don't have to set up any like I said, any IP information or anything like that, because it does it through DHCP. So as long as your router's set up for DHCP, it should pull an IP address just fine. And then now we're done. And of course it says congratulations. Also, I would recommend donating. This is actually a really cool deal. Like I was telling you before, this is what I kind of bought this for when I was doing research and kind of toying with the idea of doing Raspberry Pi for our channel here and whether I should get one or not. This is kind of what sold me on it, was the ability to do this, because I myself have a media center computer in my house. I actually have a server that I call it my media server, and I throw all any videos or like the digital copy, videos that you can get now. I really like that feature. You can get those digital copies, and then you can save a digital copy. Well, I can save that on, and then I can stream that to different devices in my house. So it's actually pretty cool, and I'm using the Raspberry Pi. So I suggest donating. These guys are doing a fantastic job. So if any of them are watching right now, keep up the good work. Raspbmc, you guys are doing great. So now that we have it installed and ready, I think the next piece is going to be going to the actual Raspberry Pi and booting it up. So I'll see you in just a minute. We'll boot that up. Okay guys, I'm back, and I'm going to go ahead and power this up. We got the good old black screen, but I'm going to go ahead and apply some power to our device here. Should be coming up. There we go. So we got something happening here. I'm going to have to get some keyboard action going on, just in case. Got an old keyboard that I'm going to be working with. So this guy's booting. Here goes, see, there's the network interface, your IP address, all that fun stuff. It's going to be bringing it up here in a second. So we are just going to wait for it. And here we go. Connection to Raspbmc update server successful. So that's good. So comes all the creation stuff. And so what it will do is it will now begin installing. So we will now wait for it. So you're basically going to have this screen for a while. There'll be a bunch of different screens. They'll say formatting partitions. They'll be downloading the kernel. They'll be installing. They'll be downloading another piece and installing that. And there's about 3 or 4 different downloads that go on, like the formatting the partitions. That takes a little while. It's got to do that. So it's all around about a 15. Well, I would say 15. Probably about a 20-minute deal to get everything all set up on the Raspberry Pi, or for the XBMC. It's got to download stuff. See, like downloading root file system. I like how they say grab a coffee. That's fantastic. But anyway, it's got to download the root file system and install that, and then download another piece and install that, and then it's got to download one more. So it's going to take a little while to do all of that. So what we're going to do is I'm not going to let you guys, make you guys sit through this painfully slow process. So like I said, it takes about 20 minutes or so, 20-25 minutes to completely install. It'll just be a whole bunch of install screens, nothing fancy. I don't think it really has you do anything. I think at one point it may ask you to set up where you are, like basically set up time zones and whatnot for the clock. But other than that, I think it pretty much just goes straight through. But I don't know. I'm pretty sure it just goes straight through. So anyway, I'm going to stop yammering, and we'll come back when this is pretty much completely installed. So we are going to leave it right there. All right, I'll be back in a minute, guys. Okay, guys, we're back, and now we're rebooting. I just got finished with installing, so now it's going to boot for the first time with our Raspbmc. So what we're going to do is, all right, here we are. So now this is where it starts. So, okay, here we go. All right, so it pops up here, or choose our language. So I'm going to choose English. Okay, and then that's basically it, guys. What we're going to do is we're going to set up a share to a video. And how we're going to do that is, first of all, we need to set up a share on our Windows machine. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and stop here. And then we're going to go do that, and then we'll come back. We'll come back to this, and I'll show you how to set it up on this. So we'll go ahead and stop. Okay, guys, I'm back on my PC. So this is where we're going to share. I've thrown a video into a share folder, and what I'm going to do is we're going to set up some sharing. So we're going to say, we're going to right-click on the folder we want to do. We're going to go to Properties, click on Sharing. We're going to say we want to share it. Let's see. May go to advanced sharing. There we go. Share this folder. Okay. So now we're going to do permissions. We're going to click on this, and we're going to say, allow everyone full control. Now you could add in certain people if you want to, or add in certain privileges and whatnot. You could do that if you wanted to, but right now we're just going to allow full control to everyone. Okay, okay, and close. And so that should give us the share that we need. We may have to tweak it later because Windows always is very finicky on its sharing and who it allows to share what, where, and how, and why. So we may have to change this later, but we're going to just name it share. Permissions, we're just going to give everyone full control. So again, we may have to change that later. So now what I'm going to do is, now that we've set that up, I'm going to go back to our Raspberry Pi. So let's return to our Raspberry Pi. Okay, guys, we're back on the Raspberry Pi. So now what we're going to do is we're going to click on video. We're going to go to videos, and we're going to go to files. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we are going to click on files, and we're going to say add videos. So now to do this, we have to add basically our share in. So what we're going to do is we're going to click up into here. Okay, and now since it's Linux, they're going to use Samba. So we're going to use SMB is the first piece, and then you're going to put a colon. Oops, I accidentally clicked IP address. No, done. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. So we're gonna delete that. Okay, so now I want symbols, and then we want a colon. Okay, And then what we're going to do now is we're going to type in our server. So what we need is we need to go to symbols. We need to put a couple of backslashes in. So symbol. Basically like standard server notation stuff. And then we're going to put in the server that we have. So the PC that I'm using, or that I used before, is going to be, in fact, here now we can use the IP address option. We're going to do 192.168.1, and then I believe this one is 10. So we're going to go 1 at 10. We're going to say done. That puts that in. We're going to do another symbol. We'll put another slash, and then we called it share. So we're going to say SHAR and E. So share. Now that should be it. Should say done. Should say OK. And of course there's a username and password. What I'm going to do is I'm probably not going to put one in since I said everyone is fine. I think I'm just going to click OK and see what happens. Oh, we could not refuse this to the network being connected. Would you like to add it anyway? No, I think we're going to have to actually enter in our username and password. So I'm going to enter in my username. And I'm going to go ahead and enter this stuff in. Okay, I've entered my username and password. I hit OK again. Okay, there it goes. So I'd enter my username and password for one of my local directory, one of my local accounts on there. So those of you that don't know, if you go to Start and Control Panels and then click on users or whatever, you can see the default user. You can create another user or whatever you want to do. So I had to use my default user login for my local login on my PC. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google local logins and you'll probably find all kinds of information how to set that all up. But basically now we're set to a set content. We want to choose that this directory contains movies, okay? Because this directory does contain movies. Now, if you're on audio, you'd select, obviously, audio and all that stuff. And it says movies are in separate folders that match the movie title. No, mine aren't, so I don't have that selected. Basically, you can see that there's like a little radial right here. If you select it, it turns blue. If you deselect it, it turns off. Mine aren't. Remember, we just put the movie in there. So scan recursively. That means it'll scan through it and find all the different stuff. Exclude path from library. You can do exclude paths or whatever. Everything should be set up. This is basically the way it is. If you do like I'm doing, you just drop the movie files into a folder. You just set it up just like this. We're going to hit OK. Do you want to refresh? Yes, we want to refresh. And we should see it here. So here's share. We're going to click on it. And there's the 4x4 cube trailer. So let's click on it and see what happens. Now I don't have the audio hooked up, so you're just going to have to bear with it. Oh, in fact, I just noticed something. Since it is a WMV, I forgot about this. If it's a WMV, for some reason, I haven't got this to work right, but it will only play the audio in it. It will not play the actual AVI stuff that's on it, or play the actual movie file. So, just word of caution, I haven't gotten WMVs to work, but if we want an AVI, here, in fact, I'll just show it to you. Hang on just a second. I'll drop one in the folder. Okay, here we go. I've got it. I put a movie in the file. I'm only going to show the beginning of it to show you that it works, but I just threw a movie in here. So if I double click on the movie, it takes it a minute, but then voila, there it is. Hooray! So that's basically how you set up your Raspbmc. You do that. And that's basically how you set it up to get your movies to work. Set up your shared folder, save your files to your shared folder, and all that stuff. And the same thing goes with your pictures, and it even has weather. That's kind of cool. The same goes with your pictures and your music. You can do the same thing. You do files, and you'll do the same thing. You'll set up your share. You add a source, set up wherever your share is, your media share folder that you've set up on the computer you want to make your sharing computer, and all that stuff. Next thing we'll do, I know I said that this is part 1 in this, there is a way that you can set up an infrared receiver onto your Raspberry Pi, where you can use a, you guessed it, remote control. And that way you can remote control do this instead of like me, I'm using a mouse here that I have plugged into my Raspberry Pi. Well, you can actually use a remote with these things. Now, the catch-22 of the remote is the fact that remotes run at different frequency carriers and whatnot. There, a lot of the older remotes run at 36 kilohertz as their carrier. So basically that's how you get the wavelength of light, you know, whatnot. And they have a certain wavelength that they operate at, and it's about 36 kilohertz carrier is what the carrier is. That is works for old remotes. Now newer remotes, like a lot of people are using the original Xbox DVD remote. You know how you could buy that DVD kit for the original Xbox. They're using that remote. Some people are using the newer Xbox remote. Things like that. And well, it depends. The Xbox remotes run on a different carrier. They run on a 56 kilohertz carrier. If you have one of the older remotes that run on the 36 kilohertz carrier, you can go by Radio Shack, and they have a TSOP 4838, I believe, and that is the IR receiver for a 36, or maybe it's 38, maybe it's 38 kilohertz, 36, 38, somewhere around in there is the frequency that the carrier works at. And then there's a way to set up some settings in Raspbmc to be able to interpret that. What we will be doing is I don't have any of those remotes, those older remotes. I have all kind of newer ones that operate at the 56 kilohertz. Well, those you can't exactly get from Radio Shack, so you have to order them. So I've placed an order for some other parts for some other stuff that I'm going to be showing you. Another kind of cool video that I'm going to show you about some stuff I've been doing kind of in the meantime along with this. I'm going to share with you probably in the interim, but before we start the web-based microchip stuff. I'm going to be showing you guys how to do it. Well, anyway, I'm going to take and I went ahead and ordered some of the 56 kilohertz ones. That way I can get it to work and get it operational, and then that way I can then share it with you guys. So, as always, guys, thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Check out my other videos. We got quite a few in this Raspberry, so those of you that are just getting in on this Raspberry Pi stuff by watching this video, go hit my channel, click subscribe while you're there, but check out, I've got a playlist that I've put together that is of all the Raspberry Pi related videos. So then you can check out all of them from the beginning till now. And I thank you guys for being a part of this and watching me through the Raspberry Pi. I think there's another kind of system kind of like this that's out there that I may actually play with as well, maybe as we go on down the road. But for right now, I think this is going to probably wrap it up for this guy. We got one more video that's going to be, like I said, putting that IR receiver in, so we can see how to control this with a remote control, which ought to be pretty darn cool. That way you can hook this to your TV, sit back, relax, and enjoy some videos or good music, or maybe show your family and friends some pictures or something of your trip to Mexico or something. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, guys, thanks again for watching. Take care. Keep coding. Have a good time. Any comments, questions, whatever, send me. I've been getting a lot here lately, which is good, which is great. I enjoy answering your questions. I enjoy making the movies. So with that, guys, I think that ought to do it. Take care now.